Hey everyone, welcome back to the next design team project, and this one I decided I would base it around this cool stencil that we got. So this is a Kaisercraft stencil with all their paintbrushes and pens, and the word creativity is contagious as the title on this stencil, so it's very versatile to use in quite a few art journal processes, and I think I will use it many times. But today I started off by using just a 12 by 12 paper. It is a basil marshmallow cardstock because I will be painting on it, and I'm just using my Sharpie to outline all the pens and paintbrushes on the stencil in multiple times so that I have quite a few. So I'm going to use the Colour Blast sprays that we got in the mixed media kit for the March Kitaholic kits, and I'm just using my paintbrush and I'm just adding colour to them. I'm not mixing colours, I'm not worrying about any fancy techniques, I'm just colouring it in. I am mostly trying to keep it in lines as much as possible, but only because I will, when I cut them out, I don't cut them on the line, I leave a little bit of a white border, and that means that it doesn't look like you've cut it wonky or anything, because you can see the drawing and the lines of the actual shape. So you can see now I've done all three colours. So we got the blue, the red and the green this month to match the kits, and then I've cut them all out. Didn't make you watch that, thank goodness. Now I thought it'd be really cool to make it look like they were messy used paintbrushes, and that definitely creativity was happening in these paintbrushes and pens. And I pull out some dilution colours, some nice bright ones, and I've got 5 of them here. And what I do is I grab a paintbrush and I just dip it in, and I make it look like they've been dipped in paint and they're real paintbrushes that are being used to create to your heart's content. So pull out some of this Kaisercraft, it's actually die cut release paper, but I use it just like vellum. And I'm just going to use it here so that we don't have everything stuck to my table and don't have paint absolutely everywhere. So you can see I'm just dipping them in. Here's a pencil, I just dip the tip in so it looks like the lead of the pencil is coloured. And I fast forward, I don't do those Baro calligraphy, they're fancy pens, aren't they? Whatever they're called. I don't colour them with the paint. And I'm just going to finish off these little pencils. So there's quite a few of these little pencils because there's the shorter ones and a longer ones. So it's nice to have them, and because they're so skinny, it's nice to have them in bulk. So just finishing them off, just trying to, randomly but also even out the colours. And then instead I keep my colours out because I figure I better keep that colour scheme going. And I find my junk journal that I made on the live stream for International Scrapbook Day that we had here on Kitaholic's channel on the beginning of March, so the 2nd and 3rd of March. And so if you want to go back and watch how I made my junk journal, or the way that I make my junk journal, and hear how everyone else was making it along with us, the live stream it goes in the process of you could do this and this and work with me while I'm talking so that you can make your own junk journal. So just check over the Kitaholics community group Facebook page and you will see the live stream on there if you scroll through. Definitely let me know if you follow the instructions and make one. It was quite exciting. A few ladies made it live while I was making it live, and then a few have made it since. So it's so nice to see. It's really simple to make, so don't fret if you're thinking that you can't make it. Anyway, I had 2 quotes that I'd pulled off Pinterest about paintbrushes, and I couldn't decide for the life of me, and then instead wrote them on the back of the same cardstock, and then decided as I got to this step of my art journal, and I'm just writing it in different scripty and normal kind of font just to add a bit of difference. And when I get to this bit, the word paintbrush is the next one, and I thought, I wonder if I put a paintbrush there, and that will tie in the paintbrushes and all the pens that are going to go crazy on the right hand side. So I'm really proud of myself for thinking of that idea. Isn't it? So it works so nice, and it's so fun when something new and something exciting comes to mind, and it just works so well for your project. So I'm just going to let that dry a little bit longer while I work on the background. So I'm going to use the 5 colours that I used to dip the paintbrushes in, and I'm just going to get 5 real paintbrushes and stroke some paint on in a random kind of a pattern. Well, not really a pattern, just a random colour everywhere. So you can see I kept in this process just because I figured that you don't want to just see it or all of a sudden just appear on my page full of colour. You want to see how I work or how people work when they're doing this kind of a process. So you can see I just did 3 of the pink. I do end up doing 3 of the blue, and it's not a matter of having to do 3 of every colour or anything. It's just a matter of putting colours around so that it looks appealing to your eye without being so close together and not so so uniform. And it's nice when colours meet each other that you mix them in a little, like here. So obviously everyone knows yellow and blue make green. So I'm just mixing it a bit more in to make that green. Even though, and that's good because it's not actually making a new colour, because I already have green as one of the colours. And when I did the blue and the red on the right hand side there, I did mix it a little to make purple. It's a different tone obviously, but it's not so bold, and it's not a whole part of the layout that means it takes over in terms of the colour. So I do add a bit too much purple here, but then I go over it in a little while to spread out that colour. But sometimes it's nice to have that big bold part of the colour, and other times you need to just have little pockets of the colour. So just play around with with the colour and getting it on the page. There's no right or wrong really, because you are going to cover it up. Well, I cover it up with some stencils and then some mark making with the paint pens and then some splatters. So, and then I'm putting in the paintbrushes and the pens anyway on the right hand side. So you can, with mixed media, as you know, when you're doing an art journal, it's just part of the layer. So if it looks crazy at the beginning when you're just putting on colour, then you have a good chance of it working out, because you're going to put in the details and many other layers to make it look totally different and make it come together as a cohesive page. It's the same as when you're doing mixed media on a 12 by 12 layout. It might look horrific, but once you add your photo and your title and your embellishment clusters, it only perhaps a little bit is showing at the end, or it's more of a feature rather than more of a abstract blob without any purpose. So adding those things on top is what gives it that purpose and makes it all to come together and look good. But I know if you're starting with mixed media, it can be an overwhelming thought to see all this colour on the page and not have it come together or look the way you want it to look. So just finishing it off, and this is also one of those processes that you could stay here all day long and paint away with these splotches. You do need to get to a point where you're like, right, that's it, put the paintbrushes down, step away, because otherwise you'll end up going over it and looking for perfection and just continuing to paint away, and will just not work out the same at all. So just have a play and learn where to stop. So putting my paintbrushes in the water. I only had my green one out. I think I didn't realise. So yeah, a little bit of green just because it was out. I was like, is the universe telling me something? Put a bit more on, and then I get rid of that paintbrush and call it a day with these paint splotches for the moment. Well, actually not for the moment. I don't put any more splotches on after I apparently just darken this green and put one here. Once my paintbrushes are in the water, then we're done for the night with that. So I'm just going to put my paints away. They're just dilution paints. You could really just use any paint colour. So now I'm just getting out some black paint. This is actually Dina Wakley paint, and I've got out this stencil that we got in the Kitholic kits last year, and I'm just randomly putting some black splodges. So this is just a makeup removal little circle pad thing, just really cheap. It does fray a lot more than what like makeup blended little sponges do, or even the the Tim Holt Distress No, they're dabbers, aren't they? They're not distress. But I think this is just really quick and easy. And my paint's not dry, so you can see my stencil is sticking to the back once I put it in, and I've got to lift it off. So now you can stop here and just have this little bit, but it's me. It's mixed media, so of course I'm going to add some more. I'm just going to go around and pretty much put a pop of the black in every kind of spot, so that there's that colour there to draw your eye around and make it more of a whole cohesive page. That is very easy to clean up. It's just paint, so if you're cleaning it up straight away, just using a baby wipe or going to the sink, it will make your stencil last longer and look nicer. So I'm just pulling out, this is a Sharpie white paint pen, and I'm just adding some little dashes in some little spots just to counterpart that black and just make it look like another layer to blend in the back and the front layers, and it sort of just makes it one. So, but it gives it depth. So the whole point of putting different things on your art journal page is that it gives all the layers come together and give it that depth, so it doesn't look flat and like there's nothing really happening. It just looks like it goes on in terms of texture and goodies to look at. So you can see I'm just dashing here, there and everywhere, not really worrying too much. And I thought if I do a couple of these words with the it's like a shadowing technique, so I learnt it back in like high school when, you know, before computers, so you spent forever practicing writing and having fun with it, and well, I did anyway, maybe not everyone, but so you sort of do a shadow kind of a technique. So here I am just doing that, and then I do go over it with a bit of a black paint pen just to make sure that it sticks out and the white's not overdone the areas of the letter. Makes it more shadowy rather than some weird white going on. Now here's where my video cuts out. For some reason it stopped recording. No, it didn't stop recording. I lost the footage. So here I just, you can see the close-up now. I've put on that paintbrush word with the paintbrush with the word paintbrush on it on the left side. I have added gold splatters everywhere with my paint pen, and then I have just stuck all the pens and all the paintbrushes in that little pocket on the right side, and leaving those three there on the front in a little pile like you would on your desk. And that is my art journal layout. So if you want to see how I use that paintbrush stencil for a different project, I use it for a 12x12 scrapbooking layout next week, definitely subscribe to the Kidaholics channel. That way you'll get the notification when it is uploaded, but you'll also get notifications about every project that the design team make. We have things going up every day, so that's fun to be able to see what happens, what we all use with these kits, because we're all a bit different in terms of our style. So you can see here a different close-up of how that all came together. If you have any questions or any comments, definitely leave them down below, and I will see you next week. Bye!